Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hina Ijaz. Welcome to Pakistan. As I interviewed a couple of weeks ago the ambassador of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, we came up with some we actually discovered some very interesting facts between the two nations. As you know, Kazakhstan is one of the most important nations in the Central Asian region. Its significance to Pakistan and Kazakhstan's significance to Pakistan holds great importance. What exactly has happened since that interview, what news has developed, we shall be talking about today, because today His Excellency Yerzhan Kistafan, the ambassador of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, has once again honored us with his presence in the show. And not just him, along with him is Mr. Bulat. He's the chairman of Sarsenbayev Center for the Development of Interfaith and Inter-Civilization Dialogue. Exactly what is this center about? What is it teaching? What is it telling people? Why is it inviting important world political figures? We shall discover that. Let me tell you that this forum started from Kazakhstan. So we have the man right here to tell us about the center, exactly what it is all about. Last but not the least, I have Mr. Khalid Rao on the show. He is from Pakistan. He works for one of the biggest development and construction groups in Pakistan, Habib Group of Companies. He is the executive director. His exact relevance to this program and along with the ambassador is that he is working alongside with the government of Kazakhstan on various development projects, whether it be a freight project, a train project. I don't know much about it right now, but I shall find out. So hello and welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us. And Excellency, you've been on the show before. We talked about your beautiful country. We talked about the possible trade opportunities. But I believe a lot has happened since that interview. You've held various meetings. You in fact met the Islamabad Chamber's president a few days ago, or in fact a couple of weeks ago. There were some important figures mentioned there that during the month of November 2021, the bilateral trade between the two nations has increased from $6 million to $20 million. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So what figures are you eyeing at by the end of the current fiscal year?
First of all, thank you for having us today. When it comes to our bilateral trade, I must say that last year it was, according to our statistics, about $45 million. This year we expect that the trade turnover will reach about 60, 70, or maybe even more million. So it's our joint efforts, and during this last 2 months, in November and December, we organized a number of events, very important in terms of boosting our B2B ties, our economic cooperation, trade, investment, so on and so forth. And for the first time in November in Almaty, jointly with USAID, with the Ministry of Commerce, we organized a 2-day business forum. About 100 people participated in this very important event, and I must say that about 35 Pakistani businessmen came to Almaty. Most of them visited our country for the first time. So as they say, it was kind of eye-opener. So this is what we need actually, to organize such kind of events on regular basis.
Absolutely.
Because, it helps a lot in terms of increasing awareness of our communities about the business opportunity, investment climate, and other things that could be mutually beneficial for our countries. And another very good outcome of our trip to Kazakhstan was our, visit to our capital, to Nur Sultan. We organized a number of talks, negotiations along with Mr. Rao in the Ministry of Industry, in the National Railway Company of our country, with people from our national companies such as Kazakh Export, Kaz Trade. So now we are focused on boosting, developing our bilateral trade. Moreover, for the first time in November, we organized our online session of the Joint Working Group on Trade, Joint Working Group on Transport. We also organized for the first time online session between Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation and Kazakh Tourism. So what I'm trying to say is that we have so many things to do, and again, it's about great potential that we need to develop. So next year we will be celebrating 30th anniversary of establishment diplomatic relations between our countries. On February 24th, we established diplomatic relations between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. It was during the visit of our first president, His Excellency Mr. Nursultan Nazarbayev. One of the first his foreign abroad trips was a trip to Pakistan. And right after that, on March 2nd, the United Nations accepted and recognized our independence.
Right. In fact, the 30th independence anniversary of Kazakhstan was celebrated in Pakistan on the 16th of December.
Right.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
And I would still say that you're a very young country, but for that, Kazakhstan has gained. It's important in the Central Asian region. So you talked about the 35 businessmen who went to Kazakhstan, right?
Yes.
Which sectors were they from mainly?
Mainly, they represented agriculture.
Right.
They represented pharmaceutical industry, association of surgical instruments manufacturers, and sports goods mainly. But also we had people from IT sector. We believe that yes, yeah, exactly. So we believe that our collaboration in IT sector could be extremely useful for both countries.
Right.
We have experience to share.
Right. Before I move on with this discussion, I would like to once again show you a report that we prepared on the beautiful Kazakhstan. Let's take a look at it. Well, that was a report on Kazakhstan, some beautiful images. One is definitely inclined to visit this gorgeous, gorgeous place. Well, so Mr. Bulat, I would like to understand exactly about the Nazarbayev Center for the Development of Interfaith and Inter-Civilization Dialogue. What exactly does this center represent? What's the ideology behind it?
You know that 2003, our first president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, he launched the idea to organize and to carry out the Congress of the Leaders of World and Traditional Religions. You know, that was exactly in that time when, just after the 2001, September 11, you know that our world started to be divided, and some societies became, started some radicalization. And that idea was highly supported by politicians of that time and the leaders of world and traditional religions. And 2003 we had the first Congress, and now we are preparing the 7th Congress, which will happen next year, 14-15 September. And we're expecting more than 160 people from 70 countries.
160 from 70
Yes,
countries.
all of them, they are leaders of world and traditional religions. They are some politicians and the heads of the international organizations. You know, the main idea of the Congress is it's a unique platform, bringing together people from different confessions, from different religions, faiths, yes, and sometimes they have some issues to discuss.
Today, we don't have any conflicts on religious or ethnic basis. So our people live in peace and harmony.
We are preparing the 7th Congress, which will happen next year, 14-15 September.
What kind of issues are generally brought up? There must be some issues with sensitive nature as well, I believe.
Usually the theme of the Congress is chosen which is more relevant for the period. For example,
and which have been some of the most relevant issues brought up at the center?
Next Congress theme will be the role of the leaders of world and traditional religions in post-pandemic situation.
Excellent.
Yes,
very
because
relevant to these
you
times.
know, now we live in the new world, I could say, because pandemic situation changed a lot, and
it's changed the world dynamics completely.
That's why we understand that the leaders of world and traditional religions, they are very influential people. They influence their communities, they influence their government. That's why their opinion is very important for us. After the Congress, usually they take the declaration, and this declaration we put all the ideas, all the opinions, all the recommendations to the governments, to the politicians, and so it's very important, their opinion.
Mr. Bulat, when was this center started?
This center started 2019. It was also approved by the Congress. At that time it was the Congress, 6th Congress of the Leaders of World and Traditional Religions. And in recognition of input of the first president of this area, they recommended to name it the Nazarbayev Center. So in 2019 we opened the center. It's a little bit more than 2 years. I'm heading this center from February. Now, as I said, we are in preparation of the Congress of the Leaders of World and Traditional Religions. Usually we do it once 3 years' time, but every year we have a secretariat of the Congress of the Leaders. Secretariat is headed by the Speaker of the Senate of Kazakhstan, Mr. Sarsenbayev. And but the Congress will be chaired by the President himself, Mr. Tokayev. So it's very important. As I said, it's a very unique platform. You will find there people from all over the world and from different...
You just mentioned 160 people participate in it. Well, Excellency, the Nazarbayev Center, when it was formed, it talked about bringing different faiths together and discussing global faith-based issues and problems at a very, very open forum. But when such centers are formed, there might be a small participation from world leaders. Did you face that problem initially?
No, we didn't face any problems with regard to this very important international initiative. Moreover, I must say that Kazakhstan has its own unique experience to share. If you remember, as I said, more than 130 ethnic groups live today in Kazakhstan, and they represent about 18 confessions, you see.
Right.
So I mean that Kazakhstan can share this experience, and basing on what we have, it's a great achievement. We believe that it's a great asset that today we don't have any conflicts on religious or ethnic basis. So our people live in peace and harmony. So this is why our president, first president, decided that Kazakhstan needs to share this experience, and Kazakhstan needs to take lead in this very important, issue. And this platform is a great and unique opportunity to establish dialogue between different, confessions, different communities. Because after all, it's about peace, it's about harmony, and it's about, improving stability and security in the world.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Khalid Rao, finally coming towards you, but we're going to discuss some very important highlights of what you've achieved so far with Kazakhstan. You in fact visited the country as well.
I visited Kazakhstan, I think 4 or 5 times.
So you've been there quite a lot,
Yeah.
not just this last time.
But last month I visited Kazakhstan with Excellency Ambassador, and it was a very useful and very productive meeting. So we met Minister of Industries and so many other high officials, and it was very encouraging. And first of all, I should tell you, being a businessman, that there is a big potential for doing business between Pakistan and Kazakhstan. Because if someone wants to set up an industry, there are so many incentives given by the government, and especially in the energy sector. So they have a cheap gas, electricity, and so many other incentives for industry, which you have Pakistani businessmen, they can set up there. So we have already identified many fields of businesses, or which we can share with any Pakistani businessman if they want. We can provide them all the information with our experience. We can guide them. Secondly, I think there are Kazakhstan being one of the largest country in Central Asia, very well developed. And what I have seen, that people, they are very hardworking, and in industry they have latest technology. You can compare with any European standard.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
I have visited their power sector, and there is a company, LGM. It's a very big group. So I visited their factory also. They make the big transformers, but unfortunately they don't have any access to the Pakistani market.
Well, now I think opportunities are opening
Yes,
up.
now the things are opening. Like their ambassador is a very dynamic person, and I think with his presence in Pakistan, so things will be much better.
So
When the
what
railway sector,
opportunities are present for Pakistanis when they look at Kazakhstan?
basically, as I
I
told
mean,
you,
there
in
is
the-
a lot of
in the textile
learning.
sector, yeah.
There can be a lot of learning in the technology sector. There can be a lot of learning in the power sector. What else? What other opportunities are present?
in the textile export also, textile, leather, chemicals, we can bring chemicals from there. They make a lot of chemicals which are, we import from different sources. But Kazakhstan prices are also very reasonable. For instance, I say in the railway sector, they have a very big setup of railway. They manufacture in collaboration with General Electric. They are making locomotives, and they have all type of big industry in Kazakhstan.
Amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing news.
So I think, in my opinion, there is lot of potential, lot of things which Pakistani businessmen, they can bring from Kazakhstan to Pakistan.
Well, Excellency, we've talked a lot about this serious stuff, and we shall continue to do so. But I'd like to understand that you do come to Lahore a lot, right?
Yes.
So you have a very clear understanding of the city. So what do you like the most about Lahore?
Of course, cultural heritage, first of all, because I see that it shows that we have a lot of things in common in our history. Even Bachahi Mosque, it was built by rulers from the Mughal Empire, and these people came from our region, from Central
Absolutely.
Asia. So this is why, from the very beginning, my idea was to establish sister cities between your cultural capital Lahore and, if you remember, last time I was talking about Turkestan. So we consider Turkestan as a cradle for nomadic Turkic civilization. And I believe this interaction between our cultural capitals could, contribute a lot in terms of strengthening
Right,
our
but
people
you're
to people
stationed
ties.
in Islamabad. But
Yeah.
if you were given a choice, would you move to Lahore?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I
it's a
think
beautiful
you'd like
city,
to. You
beautiful
like the
city.
culture here.
Government of Pakistan approved our request to operate flights, direct flights between Kazakhstan and
That
Pakistan.
is excellent news.
Yes.
In reality, Pakistan and Kazakhstan, we have many things in common.
There is a big potential for doing business between Pakistan and Kazakhstan.
I invite our Pakistani friends, brothers, sisters to come to Kazakhstan to see by their own eyes what is happening on the ground.
Mr. Bulat, what about you? Is it your first trip to Pakistan?
Yes, it is my first trip to Pakistan.
Right.
I was invited to one conference which will happen on 27 December in Islamabad. You know that as I'm joining to our ambassador, that in reality Pakistan and Kazakhstan we have many things in common.
If
Historically.
you can present your observations on
yeah.
this program, please.
Yeah, and for us, of course, very important to introduce Kazakhstan in Pakistan, to introduce our ideas, because Kazakhstan, we are a small country.
Yeah, but what are the similarities? I'd like to know.
Similarity, even language. Sometimes a lot of Kazakh words I will hear from in your language, Urdu language. This is, as I said, from great Mughals time. And also religion, similar culture, similar languages, and many, many things. And we are not far away. If it will be a direct flight from Kazakhstan to Islamabad, it will take about less, maybe 2 hours.
Same as Karachi.
We have a
Yeah.
very good news. We have a very
Yes,
good
please.
news.
Yes, please.
Last week, the government of Pakistan approved our request to operate flights, direct flights between Kazakhstan and
That
Pakistan.
is excellent news.
Yes, and thanks to efforts of our dear friends in
I
the
better
government.
make that announcement
Yes.
that there'll be direct flights from
Inshallah, at the beginning of
Pakistan to
next year.
Kazakhstan and
Yeah,
Kazakhstan to Pakistan. So one can go and see the gorgeous Kazakhstan.
This time it took me about 24 hours to get to Pakistan, because it's
It's
more
a
than
long flight, yes, too
but-
many stops on the
yeah,
way.
but now if this flight will start to be operated, it's only 2 hours.
When? When is that?
Hopefully, at the beginning next year in the first quarter. We are waiting for the official confirmation
So
from
then
the
it
government.
makes it a 2-hour flight.
Yes,
So you can come here more often then.
and you have to visit our country.
Definitely, definitely. And Mr. Khalid, that makes your journeys easier. You've been there 4 to 5 times. How long was the flight previously?
I think if you go via, there are 2-3 ways. If you go via Tashkent, it is, I think, 4 hours, right? 2 hours to Tashkent and 2 to Almaty. I would recommend Pakistani people that instead of going to London, they should visit Almaty.
Why not?
Almaty, you can compare Almaty with London. Almost similar.
Are you serious?
Yes.
In what ways?
I mean,
What characteristics are you pointing out to?
For instance, development-wise, or you can say it's just like what I feel. I've been to Almaty. I think it is better than even London. More cleaner and better
That's
environment.
great.
Yeah,
Nice
a
to
good.
I mean,
Yeah,
a
I'm from
cleaner
Almaty also.
London. I mean, a cleaner
It
London
is a good
better
place
than
for
anything.
holidays. I would recommend everybody because it's not expensive. And instead of going to Europe for holidays, it is the best place to go to Almaty.
How
Once
lovely
the
is
flights
that?
they start, so 2 hours flight, same from Lahore to Karachi or to Almaty. It
One
would
of
be
the
same.
best ski
Yeah.
resorts in the region.
He mentioned ski resort, skating resort, a lot of nature around, and a lot of historical places around to see. And the infrastructure of Almaty is very developed. You will find restaurants of any food existing in the world.
That's amazing.
Everything.
I actually had no idea.
And good hotels, excellent 5-star hotels, So it's a very developed city.
So Kazakhstan is a young country. 30 years ago it gained independence.
Yeah.
So all this infrastructural development took place during these 30 years?
Most of them, yes, during this, it was during the Soviet Union, it was the capital of Kazakhstan, but then we changed it to Astana. But of course, a lot of development within these 30 years, because we did not have luxury hotels, we did not have these restaurants, we did not have these other facilities of this high level. This was done during these 30 years. Of course, when in 1991 we started our Kazakhstan, it was very difficult. At that time I was deputy mayor of one place, and our budget finished in April, annual budget, because of 3,000% inflation. And we did not have our banking system, we did not have our legislation, many things. We started from the zero level. And now we are, if somebody asking me always about Kazakhstan, about the 30 years, I said, yes, of course, we still need to do a lot of things.
But you've come a long way and you've achieved so much.
But in general, I always say that this is success story.
It definitely is.
Success story.
If you didn't have a banking system, if you did not have things in place,
now it's one of the best banking system, developed system in former Soviet Union country. We are trying to build better life for our people. We try to take better legislation, better economic situation. Always we fight for this. And but of course we're 30 years old, but our history is very long. From century goes to the centuries, 2,000 years ago. Some of our cities in the south part of Kazakhstan, they are more than 2,000 years old.
There's a lot, that's a lot of history.
All the cities, it's so-called Silk Route.
Absolutely.
Especially the city called Shymkand. It's a beautiful city. So there are so many holy sites also there. Khwaja Asri, Sufi, there are so many Sufis. And Shymkand is also a beautiful city.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I believe Mr. Khalid Rao is all for Kazakhstan, apart from a working relationship.
Yeah, and it's much warmer because it's in the south of Kazakhstan.
I can anticipate him moving to Kazakhstan.
You know that Kazakh territory is very...
also like when you go there.
Yes,
definitely
I'm sure from what I'm
hearing. When we launch direct flights, you are invited. I will invite you personally to visit our country.
Thank you so much. That's a very kind offer. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, in fact, coming back towards Habib group of companies, I mean, I'd like to talk more about Kazakhstan, but I really need to talk about what's going on between Pakistan and Kazakhstan. So, Habib group of companies, what kind of technical support are you providing to the Kazakh government?
Basically, we are working on a project for Pakistan Railways, and in private sector, we are working on a fertilizer plant. And in addition, there are also possibilities in so many other sectors also. So I think we see a lot of potential, especially for the industry which consume a lot of energy, right? Pakistan, we have shortage of natural gas. So we have a big, for instance, we have a mega fertilizer industry in Pakistan, but they are closed. Two major plants, they are closed due to the shortage of gas, natural gas, which is the main raw material. So we suggested to Excellency, to their Minister of Industries also, that if some special incentive can be given to Pakistani entrepreneurs, they can even relocate their industry to Kazakhstan from Pakistan, right? Which are closed due to the shortage of natural gas.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yes. And if both
and
the
what did the Kazakh government say to that?
They agree. Yes, they say we are
They're
ready
willing
to
to
work.
look into
They are
it?
willing to work.
Excellent.
And especially their president, hopefully, he will be visiting next year to Pakistan. And we are discussing with the Excellency that maybe they are at the top level with the Prime Minister, so they can sit and discuss, and some duty relaxation can also be discussed between both the countries, right? There's so many other business.
That's actually one thing, how to, that's going to motivate businessmen from both sides.
Yes. But now the basic thing is the connection between both the countries.
Right.
Now we have one way is via CPEC, China, the other through Iran,
Absolutely.
the train that can
The
go
freight
also
train.
via Azerbaijan, and the third, hopefully, inshallah, there very soon there will be peace in Afghanistan, and that will be the most convenient.
Well, from the way people see it now, the way it's being analyzed now, is that Central Asian states are very important to Pakistan, and Pakistan is also very important to them. So this regional cooperation is going to reap some very, very fruitful results. And the way Pakistan and Kazakhstan especially, Kazakhstan from Central Asia, one of the most important nations in Central Asia, the way it's collaborating with Pakistan in the fields of trade, commerce, it's going to have big benefit to both nations. So I hope this cooperation remains and sustains and we grow from here. Any last comments, please?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this
Thank
program.
you for coming.
For us, very important. I'm a former diplomat, but now I am dealing with this issue, interface and inter-civilization dialogue. And our Pakistani partners are very active in this area. We have their representatives in our Congress.
You excited about your relationship with
Yes.
Pakistan?
I am going to excite because you have now, fortunately, you have now very active professional ambassador
Oh yes,
here.
we do indeed, and
So,
we're glad.
and
We're glad we have him here.
And I believe that he will do a lot in order to increase our cooperation, because now for the moment we don't have too much cooperation, especially in economic area.
It's all about executing these tasks
Yeah, yes.
and getting it done.
Yeah.
Because
And,
talks always happen, MOUs get signed every day, but who is going to execute them? You need the right man for it, and we have him right here. So, well, any last words from you?
I think I would suggest that there is a big potential for the trade, especially they can talk on this. So many things which we can discuss in future also, but as I mentioned earlier, that free trade can be between both the countries, or so many other, things which
There's
can
so
be
many
done
different avenues to
for
explore
the
as well.
mutual benefit. I think.
Absolutely. Excellency, would you like to say anything?
So next year we're planning to organize a number of events dedicated to diversifying our bilateral
Your
relations.
president is coming, number one.
Yeah. Moreover,
That's very important.
in March we are planning to organize an event dedicated to establishing collaboration between our business women associations. It's about women empowerment. It's very
Excellent.
important. Another very important event that we are planning to organize in Almaty, Made in Pakistan exhibition that will take place from March 18th to March 26th, if I'm correct. So,
And how will people from Pakistan participate in
you know, the thing is that from the very beginning we had about 70 companies which were interested in, participation. Now
Very
we have
good.
more than 100. So the interest is growing.
Excellent.
And I believe that the number of people would be even more. So I invite our Pakistani friends, brothers, sisters to come to Kazakhstan to see by their own eyes what is happening on the ground. And I invite you again to visit
Thank
our
you so
country.
much. Thank you
Yeah.
for a very kind offer,
My
and I look
pleasure.
forward to
My
it.
pleasure.
Well, thank you so much, and I would again say welcome to Pakistan, to
Thank
you
you.
especially, and I hope you have a great trip and a great event ahead for which you're here, and wish you all the best for the Nazarbayev Center. Thank you once again, and thank you, Excellency,
My
for
pleasure.
taking out your precious time and coming on this show once again.
My pleasure.
And Mr. Khalid, thank you so much, and wish you all the best with your different adventures that you have planned ahead with Kazakhstan, and the way you speak about it so beautifully and wonderfully. And I hope that people understand that and plan a trip to Kazakhstan, given direct flights shall soon start from Pakistan to Kazakhstan. मैं आपसे इजाज़त लूँगी. I shall see you next week, same time, same channel. Keep watching Discover Pakistan.